One of the benefits of having Velixo, in addition to Sage Intacct, is the opportunity to validate data in an Excel environment, reducing the time and effort to run reports within Sage Intacct. So, for example, I have a report here that has a trial balance by date range. As you'll see here, we are pulling data from 12/1 to 12/23 for all locations, opening balance, in period activity, and closing balance. And then I've also set this up to pick up the locations or entities within the Intacct instance, the closing balances as well. You can also change this format to be able to pull it by period. So I have a lookup table, or have the data stored in this table right here, and in combination with a list box dropdown to pick the periods, I'm using VLOOKUP processes to be able to pull in the date ranges here, start date and end date here, based on what this period is. And same format. It's got all my GL accounts, got the opening balance, in period activity, and closing balance, and then the by store breakout. If you wanted to get granular by all of your department instances, for example, you'll see here, this is, I am doing a transpose to expand by the department range. And so you'll see a column for every department that is in this Intacct instance, 15 stores plus some admin areas as well. These are the IDs. This is the actual name. So where I'm pulling in the ID, I'm requesting the name field to populate there. This is a grand total of the trial balance data down here. But as you see, we are pulling the data based on this period for this Intacct connection accrual book, and we are pulling it by the department dimension, based on this ID right here. So this is a way to quickly get at your data, as opposed to having to run by individual report, which ends up stacking the reports on the same tab, one row after row, where the departments are above and beneath each other. So you can see them all side by side right here. So the format is much, much cleaner. And so by having this set up to be the transposed by the department range, if a new department range gets added, it will get picked up in this report. So the effort and the maintenance around running with new additions is much, much easier. So this is trial balance data. You can do the same thing with income statement data. So even if it's for data validation for historic data loads before go live, this can also be used for monthly validation processes as you navigate through close cycles in your reporting periods. So here is an income statement by period. Again, I've got the VLOOKUP process to pull my dates, my start and end date, which populate over here. And so this is basically pulling in just the income statement only. And so what I did was, since the income statement accounts are pulling are in the 40,000 series up to the 80,000 series, I'm doing a range right here to pull everything in that 40,000 to 80,000 range, as opposed to the trial balance, where I'm just telling it to pull every GL account that's out there. So there is this wildcard functionality to be able to pull in data. The format is the same as the trial balance. It's just we're only pulling in the income statement activity. So here's a net income check by period, in total, and this is what it is by store. So, and then we're doing the same thing with the per store details here. So same report as the trial balance, as we did for all of the departments, but it's income statement only here. So again, a way to see this by column, as opposed to either running this with the individual report format with Sage Intacct that stacks them in one tab in Excel, or having to run each department one at a time within Sage Intacct. So to duplicate this with that same effort in Sage Intacct would be a matter of running this, as we see here, we have 18 iterations, 18 different times, versus being able to change a reporting period and see your data very quickly all at once by department. So much more efficient, and a way to see the data more methodically. And then finally, I've got a trailing 12-month period here where we're pulling start date and end dates here based on what we put in here, and then I'm having it update the dates as we move to the right. But this is pulling it by period. This is by month. If you had custom reporting periods, we'd need to customize this or use VLOOKUPs or XLOOKUPs to pull the reporting period date ranges. But this is a way to look at a trailing 12 or trailing 13 period if you needed it for 13 periods as well. Another way to validate data that you can utilize with Velixo is, for example, pulling the data for like utilities and other expenses and making sure they're posting appropriately. So in this case, we're pulling GL account 6100, which is a utilities expense, and we're pulling this by store. So this gives us an opportunity to see that there was an issue with posting activity for this 9/5 to 10/20 or 10/2/23 period for store number 2 here. And then we're missing activity for all these stores underneath here. So this is a way to make sure that either expenses have been posted or have been accrued, and find gaps where they have been not, to make sure that the activity actually gets posted. So there are several mechanisms that you can use Velixo to be able to validate data, either on the front end of a project during the implementation phase to validate historic data loads, but also for period cycle closes and validating your data with these different types of reports that we've reviewed.